Hey guys, welcome to the first episode on the Bomber budget build. Now, if you've never seen one of my budget build series before, I do it a little bit differently than you may first think. A budget build for me doesn't mean do it with the cheapest parts available. It means I set a certain dollar amount, in this case $50 a week, and I upgrade with that every week through the series. Now, $50 a week doesn't mean that you need to spend $50 a week to do this. You can set it out however you would want. You could do that once a month, once every 2 weeks, however it fits your budget. It's just the way that I do it to keep the series interesting, and it makes for kind of a fun little puzzle on how to put this bomber together the way that I would like in the end, because in the end, this is a car that I do want to drive, so I want it built like my other rigs, built to last, built to hold up, built to really beat on hard and still get the job done at the end of the day. Another thing is that anything that we don't spend gets carried over to the next week. So some weeks we may try and get by as cheap as possible so that the following week we can double up that budget and do a little bit larger upgrade. During those weeks that I'm trying not to spend a whole lot of money, we'll try and find something that we can do super inexpensive or free even to get the job done so that we have an episode that's worth watching before we roll over to week 2. With that budget, every week I try to release the video. This one I'm going to release on Fridays. So watch for every Friday a new episode of the budget build. Right away, I would like to thank CKRC Hobbies for getting me a great deal on the bomber. I really appreciate their help. Go check out their site, see if there's anything that they can help you with. Now, this rig is well built right out of the box. For Axial, it's one of their best rigs they've put out so far. The Axial Deadbolt was probably the only one that rivals this with durability right out of the box. Now, this thing's got all metal gear transmission. The HD Wildboard drive shafts hold up pretty well. There is a few known weak points with some of the items on the truck, and we'll address those as we go. I am going to throw one major wrench into this whole budget build right at the outset, and I'm going to explain why. Now, when I first got this bomber, I didn't think that I was going to jump right in and do a budget build. Normally, I like to get the feel for a truck, upgrade it, drive it for a while, see what I think about them, then come back and do a budget build later after I really know the truck inside and out. After driving some bombers, working on them here at the shop, all that, I realized that I pretty much know this car already. The chassis is different, yes, but pretty much everything else on this truck I know already. I know where the weak points of a lot of these components already are because I've had them on other trucks that I've driven a lot. So then I came back and decided that I was going to do a budget build. But in that meantime, I had already upgraded this truck with some, different wheels, links, tires, all kinds of different stuff. And then I decided I was going to do this, so I took it all off. However, one of the things that I did take out was the motor and ESC, and then I gave them away. So now I don't have the stock motor and ESC. That poses a little bit of a problem. I'm not going to ask for them back. I don't want to do that. I have the motor and ESC that I'm going to use here. Now, it definitely does not fit within our budget build criteria that I'm outlining for this series already. But a lot of us have either wondered or done it anyway about what would happen if you just threw way too much motor into one of these cars right off the bat. You're going to break parts. These cars aren't designed for the type of motor that I'm going to throw in it right away, but I'm going to do it anyway. So for a motor and ESC, what is going to go in this build right away is my Tekin Pro 4 HD 3000 kV motor. It's a lot of motor. To go with that motor, I'm going to throw in my Tekin RX8 Gen 2 ESC. Now, these are both two expensive pieces. I get it. Now, don't let that scare you away from this build series already, because you don't have to throw this much motor in this car by any means. And all this means is that any options that I put in this are going to hold up to this type of motor. And we're going to get through this budget build series at that $50 a week type rate. Now, again, you don't have to do that rate. It's just how you want to upgrade. And this is just my opinion, of course. But I am going to throw this motor and ESC in here right away. So I'm going to have to drive carefully as we go a little bit because it's a lot of motor. And I know that if I just hammer down like I normally would with one of my cars, that motor is going to tear things apart. So we're going to ease into it. I'm going to drive as appropriately as I can, or at least as I'm able to. But that's what this thing's going to do. Now, I'm going to throw this motor and ESC in this car. I'm not going to cover the full installation of that in here, though, just because that's not really the goal or the part of the budget build series. So, just so you know, I am going to get that in this car right away, and we're going to move on. That is not going to be the upgrade that we're going to do for week 1, though. I'm not counting that at this time. I'm just act like it doesn't exist as much as we can, and we're going to kind of play by those rules for now. So now that I've explained that huge curveball in the start of this bomber budget build already, let's get into what we're actually going to do with this car and what our very first upgrade is going to be. Now, if you have a bomber or you've watched videos of the bomber running on the internet, something you may have noticed right off the bat is its tendency to carry that front wheel way up in the air, torque twisting actually. So that rear trailing arm suspension is pretty soft. And when it applies that power, it likes to torque over pretty easily. So what it needs to fix that is a rear sway bar set. Now, Vanquish has a rear sway bar set. It's made for the Axial Yeti. Now, the Axial Yeti version rubs the cage a little bit on this car. Axial currently has a sway bar set specifically for the RR10. It's got a little bit shorter end links. Now, what I have here is a stock Axial Yeti rear sway bar takeoff from when I installed my Vanquish sway bar set on my Yeti. This is what I'm going to install today. Now, their style of how they bolt on the end links is a little bit different, and it allows it not to rub quite as much. So that's what I'm going to throw on today. I've got it around. It's going to be an easy one for me. I'm going to include the cost of a new set, the RR10 specific, which I will include the links for below. So check that out to be able to pick up yours. Now, the installation of the rear sway bar set is very simple, but let's run through it quickly, show you how it's done. To make access easy, the first step is removing both of the rear tires from the Axial bomber. Next, we need to remove the screws located in the upper mount on the new link mount. This is meant to be used for a rear sway bar, or in case of the front axle, used to run dual shocks. Remove the rearmost screws from each side of the chassis, holding the U-shaped bracket onto the chassis. This is what the Axial sway bar looks like with half of the covers removed. They have the standard U-shaped piano wire, but then it's got these plastic covers on there for detail. The rear rod end style cover is actually what's used to support that end link. You'll notice one side of the end link has a squared off section, and that's a built-in bump stop. Make sure that is pointing to the very rear. Slide the sway bar into those U-brackets that we previously removed those screws from, and then replace the screws. Place the sway bar end links into those link mounts on the Axial bomber's axle and replace the screws that we removed in that first step. You'll now feel that the side-to-side motion of the axle is reduced, but the vertical movement of it is still retained. Replace both rear tires, and we have one step remaining. We need to adjust the tension of the sway bar. There's a small set screw located on the bottom side of that U-bracket. Tighten it until that sway bar is no longer walking around, but don't tighten it too tight that it binds. Now, the installation of that sway bar is drastically going to improve the performance of this car. What it is going to do is reduce the amount of flex you see, the amount that that tire can be lifted up. Stop concentrating on flex though. Flex is for bad Facebook pictures. Stop Flex Friday. Stop it. It's not important. You want the height of your tire basically. So on this car, 5 1/4, 5.5 inches before you start pulling up another tire. That's a general all-around rule. About the height of the tire that you're running on your car is a great setup. Keeps your car super predictable, super stable, all around. You don't want that much flex. We've been crawling for years and years. It's something that we've learned as we've gone. All of us started with trying to get the flex way up in the air. You need to learn that that is not what you should focus on though. Stop putting longer shocks on and different things and laying your shocks way down so you can pick that tire 90 degrees in the air. It's not important. If there's anything that you take away from this, That should be the number one thing. What I'm gonna do now is get this truck wrapped up and ready to go run. I'm gonna try and get some decent runtime in between videos as much as I can. Being out here in sunny California now, I do have the opportunity to run more. It's just about time, and the days are getting longer now that daylight savings time is here or past, or whichever way that it actually goes. But this truck should get a lot of runtime. This build is going to be a lot of fun for me. I hope that you guys are going to enjoy the series. The budget builds are always a popular series. Don't let that Tekin Pro 4 scare you in this thing, guys. It will decrease the lifespan of some of these parts, but we're gonna make it work. We're gonna get through it, and this truck is going to get ran hard. I'm gonna get my 3S 4000 packs charged up, throw them in the front, and try and get some runtime on this thing. Got a little bit of other things to get wrapped up before I hit the trail with it. I'm really looking forward to, as the weeks go, changing this truck further and further and completely transforming this thing into just an absolute monster. But until that, watch next Friday for the next episode on this, when we'll throw another $50 worth of upgrades at it. Again, go check out ckrchobbies.com. Great people up there with a great website. Go see if there's anything up there that you guys can find for your Axial bomber.